Welcome.
The joy of code.
Hello, and welcome to episode 382 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It is so good to have you here. We're going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff. I'm going to be continuing our exploration, our documentation of a rather arcane part of the source code. We're going to be, fleshing out the docs there and making sure that that's nice for maintenance, nice for people who are coming in and making changes, because, changes are coming to this particular component. If you're not sure what component I'm talking about, you'll see shortly, but let me start by sharing my screen. Hey, it's November 6th, 2024, episode 382. I'm actually, I'm going to try something. I think I've tried this a few times. I'm not sure if I've tried this year. I'm going to put on some background beats. I happened to be in a live stream where someone was playing some background lo-fi beats, and I thought that was kind of nice. So I'm going to turn on some background beats. If you don't like it, let me know in the chat. If you'd rather I just shut them all off, let me know in the chat. I didn't actually check to see whether or not the chat's working, by the way. So if someone in Twitch could just say something, that might be helpful. I'm just going to have these like lo-fi beats kind of just playing in the background just to see if that helps our helps the vibes. Let me double check to see whether or not the Twitch chat is working with the bridge, because if it's not, I might have to quickly fix it. Bridge test. Please ignore. See if anything shows up in here. Yes, okay, the bridge is working. Good. All right, so what are we working on today? Well, I wanted to show off something, because if you're using Nightly, there's something that's been in the works for a while that kind of reached a milestone yesterday. You were getting like a sneak peek at something that is still very, very early. It's going to have a lot of bugs, but in the same way that vertical tabs has been asked for like forever, and tab groups, which I think I showed off some tab groups last week. Profiles, user profiles, is something that people have been asking for. And just yesterday, I think it's in today's Nightly, but just yesterday, the patch landed that flipped the build time flag to enable switchable profiles. So what does that mean? So if you go to About Config, and you have to be a Nightly, and again, I'm going to disclaimer this. This is very, still very buggy, mostly fairly incomplete, totally a work in progress. Your mileage may vary. Disclaimer, buyer beware. So this is only on Nightly, and you have to flip this pref in About Config. You set that to true. And if you do, then you will get a new item in your app menu here for profiles. And I've got my profile, it's just called Profile 1 by default, I think. But I had created another one called Test Selectable. And so I can launch that. This is a different profile. And it's got a completely distinct set of theme, and the add-ons are completely distinct. So I could have this, for example, be my testing profile. This could be my profile that I use for, trying different experiments or something. But I can keep these profiles around. I can have them running independently from one another. And I can add another one. Let's try adding another one. Let's add a new one. So a new one just got created. And it's called Profile 3 by default. I'm gonna update it. I'm gonna call this one ham sandwich. I'm gonna set this theme on it, and I'm gonna give it the old heart emoji. And I think there's a missing save button here. I don't know how much of that is immediately applied. The title doesn't appear to be applied, so yeah. Bugs, there are still plenty of bugs. But I'm in Profile 3, and now you can see, oh, there it is, ham sandwich. So it did get updated, it's just, it wasn't immediately obvious. Again, there are bugs here. So I've got profiles here. Hey, I got profiles. And, you know, this is, longtime users of Firefox are probably watching this and going like, or people who have used Firefox and are aware of the existing profile feature are going like, what took you so long? Like what? This is a capability that we've had for a while with the old profile manager, like about profiles and like, what took you so long and why is this so hard? And the answer is because we had to change how the profile system worked in order to support this. And this is more than UI work. This is like deep level, like down in the guts of how profiles work kind of work that had to take place in order for us to make this possible and smooth and performant. The other thing that I think is still a work in progress, and I don't think it actually works right now, is that you can configure the profile system to show up like this dialogue to appear in a top level dialogue when Nightly opens, so you can like on launch you choose which one you want to use, which I think is kind of neat. The other thing you'll note is that like I have a lot of other profiles. Like if there are profiles that where's the list? Okay, whenever things are updated kind of out of band, it doesn't list them, but I have what you might consider like classic profiles, and there's a whole bunch of them, and they're not listed here. That's because these new profiles are a different type of profile. That's part of the work that had to take place. They're a different type of profile. Structurally, they're similar, but in there are significant differences between these profile directories and the ones you might be familiar with if you're aware of like about profiles and the profile manager. So for example, if we look inside of where the profile folder is, we can see like I've got a ton of profiles in here, but only some of them are listed in my list here, and that's like there's a logic to it. And we had to create profile groups, and there's like an SQLite database. All of these different things had to take place to make this stuff work properly. And so I'm fairly excited for this stuff. I know I'm going to be using these selectable profiles like a lot. There's also like an interesting challenge here with like what people are going to expect with accounts. You know, like if you have two separate profiles, are people going to be confused by the fact that when you sign into both profiles with the same account, that they will share a bunch of their configurations by default? And so the utility of having the two separate profiles kind of goes away once you have like a synced Firefox across multiple profiles. And so we might need to down the line think about adding like multiple profile support to accounts. I don't know if that's in the cards, but that's all to say. I think this is all pretty neat stuff. I'm excited to see where this goes. So those are like the three big things that I'm aware of that the Firefox team has been working on in 2024, and that we'll probably see go out to some set of users in either late 2024 or more likely early 2025. And that's vertical tabs with the sidebar, tab groups, and profiles, selectable profiles. Those are the big ones. So that's coming. That is coming. So like I can quit this Nightly and it will keep this other Nightly alive. Let me know if the music is distracting. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. So what are we doing today? I've talked a little bit about profile management. We're gonna keep going with the documentation we were working on with customizable UI. We had added a bunch of documentation last time. I have not touched, again, like this is one of those projects where I'm not touching the code in between the streams, so I'm not crossing the streams. That's a little Ghostbusters reference for you. So we can start by rebasing. So let me go and check out Bookmark Central, make sure I've got the latest Central. We're gonna pull And then I'm gonna rebase. This is the branch we were working on. We're gonna rebase. Okay. Crushed Optimist says, hi. Hello. We're gonna rebase all of these things onto Bookmark Central, and I just need to remember what the right incantation for that is. Git rebase. Maybe it's just Bookmarks Central. I'm gonna do interactive to see what it says. Yeah, we're gonna take all of these. Yep, sounds good. Good. Okay, and so we've got all our patches in here, and we're gonna just build artifact build real quick. Crushed Optimist says, hi. Hi, Crushed Optimist. It's so good to have you here. And thank you for verifying that the Twitch chat bridge is working. You know what we really need? I don't know if we really need it, but one thing I'd be interested in is if someone builds a Mattermost or Matterbridge integration for YouTube chat, because then we can kind of get into this nirvana of bridging Matrix, Twitch, YouTube chat. And so all of the places where you might be watching the stream, if you're chatting, you can all be in the same room as one another, chat room. That's the hope, that's the nirvana, but no one, as far as I know, is working on a Matterbridge adapter for YouTube chat. Maybe you should, if you're listening to the stream. Maybe if you're looking for a project, you can do that. Sweet jams. All right. So what's next? So where did we get to? We got to the point where we were, let's collapse some of these things. We had added documentation for panel multi-view. I thought we had done toolbar we had started toolbar context menu. We need to finish it. That's one thing we need to do. We need to finish this one today. I think that's totally in the cards. I think we definitely finish that. And if we're lucky, maybe we can start on drag position manager. That's the hope. So we're gonna finish off toolbar context menu. Did you find out how to document callbacks? No, I didn't. Not in a way that like there's a way to document a callback as a function parameter, but I wasn't able to figure out a way of documenting the form of a callback, like basically an interface, and then saying that this method implements this interface, this function takes this, it has this interface, which is a callback interface. I did not figure out how to do that. So if you're watching this and you know how to do that, let me know, because there are some things in here like, what was it? There was definitely one of these. It was like I had to repeat myself. I can't remember where. I can't remember where I had to repeat myself. But there's somewhere in here I had to repeat myself. Oh, probably in the listener for DOM change. I had to repeat myself here. Tomato Shadow 2 asks, hey Mike, recently every time I update nightly, it tells me hotfix update XPI intermediate. Hotfix update XPI intermediate. Do you know how I fix this on Mac? I don't know what that is. Let's see what that's talking about. I've never seen that string before. So I'm gonna get a little distracted here. I got nerd sniped by Tomato Shadow. Let's see if we can figure out what this thing is. Hotfix update XPI Oh, you know what that is? That's the intermediate root Mozilla cert blog. So this is recent. Mozilla certificate update add-ons Firefox 2024. Yeah, so this went out 2 days ago. Hotfix update. So I don't know how it's telling you that. Hotfix update XPI intermediate. I'd love to see what that looks like when it's telling you that, because if it's just spitting out that string at you, that's a really bad experience. But I am aware of the XPI intermediate cert. I think that's what this what might be you're referring to. And what this does, this update allows us to keep your add-ons working. It says it's disabled in the extension list. Huh. You're probably going to want to re-enable it. I don't know what version you have. I don't know what version of Firefox do you have? Let me see if there's other information about this. If I had to guess, though, it's this. And that you, the worst case scenario is that if you don't have it enabled, your add-ons will eventually stop working in March. That is my understanding. But I could be wrong. I've never heard of this hotfix update XPI intermediate. No, I don't know what it is. You're running nightly. It's 1.0.0 of nightly 134, today's first build. And it's in your extensions list? Let's check my extensions list. Let's see in mine. Let's support. No, I don't see it. I kind of wonder, Tomato Shadow 2, when you go into About Preferences, does it say anything about your machine being under control of your organization? I wonder if you've got like a group policy thing going on there. Is this your computer? Is this a work computer, or is this your computer? Okay, well, while I'm waiting to hear about that, let's keep focusing. Let's see if we can finish off documenting toolbar context menu. This is a personal Mac. And this is not a new profile. This is today's, you had updated and you suddenly just noticed this appear inside of About Add-ons, or where is it appearing? I'd love to see, for example, a screenshot of what it's telling you, this experience that you're having. All right. So let's start with on view toolbars pop-up showing. Who calls this? In About Add-ons, they're seeing it. This is called when the toolbar context menu. I'm pretty sure it's whenever it's just fired, or a view menu pop-up. Menu pop-up. Oh, no. It's under view toolbars. It's when this thing shows up. Okay, and this is called when the toolbars under view in the menu bar. Toolbars menu pop-up under view in the fires pop-up showing. event. Pop-up showing event insert point. Let me see more about this. Toolbar context menu. So it's also fired when the toolbar context menu shows up because, oh, insert event. What's it gonna do with the insert point? Vertical tab strip menu. Interesting. Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's read more closely and see what this is doing. Tomato Shadow 2, would you mind showing me a screenshot of what it is that you're seeing in About Add-ons? If you could just take a screenshot. You can, I think it's like Command Control Shift 4 will allow you to like select a region of your Mac and then it'll be copied to your clipboard, I think. Okay, so what is this thing doing? It's getting the pop-up. It gets all of these globals out of the pop-up's window scope. We look at the trigger node. What was the trigger node for opening the pop-up? If the... Oh, and it looks like we're gonna work our way up the DOM from the trigger node until we get to either a toolbar, a palette item, or a menu pop-up. In this case, if it's a menu pop-up, we'll just bail out. Nothing to do. Otherwise, item equals null. Okay, so that'll just keep working its way up. If let parent equals to our parent element. If there's a parent and it is the customization target, or it's the, we're in the overflow panel, or a palette item, which is taken care of here, or we're in a toolbar, or if we realize we're in vertical tabs. There's a little bit of belt and suspenders going on here, I think. SmurfD says this is maybe something similar from 2019. Yeah. Does it look kind of like this, Tomato Shadow? And does it refer to a particular bug? Like if you go to About Studies, is there something in there about the hotfix? All right. And then what we do is we empty the menu of the pop-up. We just, anything that has a toolbar ID, we remove the item. We're trying to figure out okay. There's an insert point. Insert point hidden equals if we're in the vertical tab strip menu. So our context customize hidden if we're in the vertical tab strip. If we're not in the vertical tab strip, we start getting our strings. We insert them if we need them. And for each toolbar in the window, we're creating items in this menu for each toolbar. To toggle them. Okay. we show and hide some things. We set some strings. Oh, wow. Show and hide more things. A lot of logic in here. This is very complicated. So what I think I'm seeing here, this menu, what is this menu? I think that's important to understand, is like, there's the toolbar context menu that this can be for. We're gonna take a look at that. So that's this item here, this menu pop-up, the toolbar context menu. So that's this. And then there's also that's the same thing. Customization toolbar menu. So there's another menu and a menu pop-up. Right. Customize mode has something similar. When we're in here, this menu. So what we have is a menu pop-up that is like very similar. It is, says Nightly couldn't verify, yes, that bug. Let's see what Mike says, but I'd say file new bug and refer to such and such. Yeah, let's file a new bug. Tomato Shadow, file a new bug and see if you can kind of get this thing identified. Yeah, I don't know what that could be. Because I don't see why Nightly would need a hotfix. Because we can just like patch Nightly. It's updated twice a day. Unless your Nightly is wildly out of date. No, it's not. It's 134.01, which is today's Nightly. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Let's get a new bug on file. So what we have here is a menu pop-up that's the same. It's kind of similar. It's got some of the same behavior in different contexts, and there are lots of different contexts that can be in here. Here's one. That's the tab context menu. If I open up a different toolbar, there's this context menu. This is it's kind of like yeah, similar. I'll bet you, so if we're on Windows, let's go to my Windows machine for a second here. Oh, it rebooted itself, lovely. So we might have to wait for this for a second, but I have a feeling the experience in this menu is a little different on Windows because there are more toolbars that you have access to. This menu may have made a lot more sense whenever you could have a whole bunch of toolbars. Like there was, you could have extensions insert a whole bunch of different toolbars. Like if you remember that meme of like, you know, going to a relative's house and opening up their browser and there's like 24 toolbars or something. This probably harkens from that era of, you know, let's see here. View toolbars. Yeah, the menu bar. And I'm fairly, wow. Like, it seems like there's been an effort to deduplicate the behaviors here. But look at the cost. And this is I think a recurring pattern anytime you try and do deduplication, is if you've got a thing that can be reused in multiple contexts, but those reusions, the way it's reused is not consistent, then it needs to kind of be customized for each context. You get stuff like this, which is like, okay, there are all these different ways that this reusable thing can be used. And so your trade-off is you have some common logic in one place, but it has to have a bunch of conditions that it checks for to see what context it is in, to see how it should behave. So it's now you've reduced the duplication, but you've increased the complexity in one spot, which is kind of interesting. So deduplication, drying up your code, don't repeat yourself. It's at a high level makes a lot of sense, but it can have trade-offs like this. It depends on where the repetitions are occurring. This is called for when the pop-up for configuring toolbars fires its pop-up showing event. So again, there are two, right? Like there's the customization toolbar menu. I shouldn't say when a pop-up for configuring toolbars fires its pop-up showing event. There are multiple such menu pop-ups. And this logic tries to apply to all of them. Work for all of them. The pop-up showing event for the menu pop-up. And then the insert point, we use the insert point. Let's see if we can understand that. I think I only saw one case of it being used, is here. And that's in toolbar context menu. So like if we go back to our windows over here, toolbar context menu. Right, so it inserts the items in here. Okay. So insert point will be an element or a DOM node. Insert point. The point within the menu pop-up to insert toggles and controls for the insert the controls for each toolbar. The menu fires pop showing event. Tries to work on this method will insert menu items into will insert menu items into the pop-up to allow for controlling the toolbars within the browser toolbox. Returns, I don't think it returns anything. Yeah, it doesn't return anything. That's interesting. Learned something today by exploring that. Get unwrapped trigger node. Okay, what is this? Unwrapped trigger node. Presumably that's a menu pop-up. The menu pop-up to get the trigger, the unwrapped trigger node for. Okay. Given, I see what's going on here. So whenever we're in customize mode, this is maybe interesting for you to know. If you're curious what like wrapping means, and I don't mean like wrapping to these backbeats, I mean like, so when you enter customize mode, for each toolbar item, we wrap them in a special kind of node so that they no longer respond to traditional mouse clicks anymore. They just become these things that you can move around. That's how it works, is we like go through all of the nodes, wrap them in these other nodes that are kind of transparent. We like shrink wrap them, And those outer wrapping nodes capture all the events that would normally go to the underlying node. And that allows us to like drag and drop and move them around. That's always worked for customization. And so given a menu pop-up, an opened menu pop-up, returns the trigger node that opened that menu pop-up. If customize mode is enabled, this will return the unwrapped underlying trigger node rather than the customizer mode wrapper around it. Returns DOM node, the underlying node, triggering node that opened the menu pop-up. Okay, get extension ID. Okay, I know what this one is. So we're trying to determine if the node that maybe the trigger node for a menu pop-up, we try to figure out if there's an extension involved, if it's an extension widget or extension button. And this will return the ID if so. Returns for a menu pop-up, for an opened menu pop-up, returns the ID of the extension widget trigger node if this happened to be returns the ID of the extension for an open menu pop-up if it was opened, if it was triggered by if the trigger node was provided by an extension, return the extension ID. Otherwise, return the empty string. DOM node. The menu pop-up that was opened returns string. The ID of the extension provided trigger node. Oh, the ID of the extension that provided the trigger node. Otherwise, the empty string if the trigger node was not provided by an extension. Okay, widget ID. This is similar. This is the ID of the widget provided by the extension. So this gets you the extension ID. This returns you the ID of the widget for the button that was provided by an extension. For if the trigger node was provided, returns the widget ID of the trigger node. Otherwise, returns the empty string. The ID of the widget of the extension provided widget that was the trigger node. That was the trigger node, or the empty string if the trigger node was not provided by an extension widget. Sorry, I'm getting buzzed. Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Let me know in the chat if you are digging these beats. Or if you can't stand these beats and you'd rather they go away. Or if they're too quiet and you're not sure what I'm talking about. Okay, update extension. We've got 4 more to go here. Let's see what this one does. Update extension. I see. So we will also share the, let's install an extension for a second here. I believe, yeah, we can pin. So yeah, here we go. Here, this is the same context menu, but you can have other things. Like it's this is the same pop-up for all of them, but this one has more things shown for it. And I think this kind of updates the menu pop-up in the event that you've right-clicked on an extension. Let's just double check that. Toolbar, context menu. Yeah. Or if you're customization panel item, context menu. Where does that open up from? Customization panel item. Panel item, context menu. Oh, I see. So that in the event that we're customizing, you can right click on this. And it will show manage extension and stuff. Okay, I understand. And if you're not, it'll show these other things. I understand. All right, let's remove this extension now. Whew, complicated. And this will probably use, yeah, get extension ID. And if there's an ID, it'll get the associated add-on, like metadata. And if there is an add-on associated with it, it will like expose the right things. All right. Updates the toolbar context menu. Updates the toolbar context menu to show the right state if an extension provided widget was acted as the trigger node. This will, for example, show or hide items for managing the underlying add-on. So param, DOM node pop-up, the menu pop-up for the toolbar context menu. Event. What's that used for? To see what? When would we supply the event? Toolbar, context menu. We supply the event itself here. That's a little more information. Event. So the pop-up showing event. for the menu pop-up. Okay. Oh, I see. Because there can be submenus. And it's possible, for example, that we're in a submenu. And in that case, the pop-up showing event target wouldn't be the toolbar context menu. It would be the submenu. Okay. And this returns a promise that resolves with undefined, I'm pretty sure. Returns resolves once the menu pop-up has been state has been set. Okay. Remove extension for context menu. Oh, so this is the what happened. Okay. The menu pop-up. That triggered the extension removal. Returns promise undefined. Resolves when the extension has been removed. Handler for the context menu item for removing an extension. And then this is similar down here. This is the handler for the context menu for reporting, for issuing a report on an extension. It triggered the extension report and then report entry point. I guess we can have multiple entry points. And that's a string. A string describing the entry point for the report. Like in this particular case, I think it's always one thing, isn't it? Like, who calls this? Toolbar context menu. Is there another one? It's always toolbar context menu. I feel like this could probably be simplified where you just like hard code passing toolbar context menu here and don't take this argument. I'm gonna to-do file a bug to remove the report entry point argument from report such and such and just hard code toolbar context menu as the value passed to report add-on. Okay, but for now, describe the entry point for the report. Okay. UI entry point. And then we need one down here for open about add-ons, because I think that's the manage one, because you can like right click and choose manage. Handler for the context menu item for managing an extension. The menu pop that triggered the extension management. Triggered extension management. Has resolves when the extensions about add-ons page has been opened. Add-ons page for management. Management page. The extension about add-ons management page has been opened. Okay, I think that's it. Let's generate this doc. Wow, downloading a lot of stuff. Cool. Just gonna blow my nose. Very treacherous when you have a beard is to blow your nose, or a mustache rather. If you can't tell, I'm growing a mustache and a beard. We're gonna see how that plays out. Hey, didn't we have this problem last time? What was the solution to this? We had this problem last time. Error, unexpected indentation. Oh, right, there was like an argument I needed to pass about warnings. And there's an unexpected indentation on line 502 of customizable UI. And there's one unexpected indentation on 511. I think all I wanted to do though was there's one that's like disable warnings check. There we go. Panel of view, customizable. So we need to add an entry for toolbar context menu now. So we're going to add a new file, toolbar context menu.rst. And we're going to put stuff like this in there. Toolbar context menu. Rebuild. There it is. Toolbar context menu. Very nice. The toolbar context menu. This singleton. This. Object manages setting the state of the toolbar context menu pop-up, handling events from that pop-up, and also handles creating dynamic toolbar control menu items in other menu pop-ups. See on view toolbar pop-up showing. All right. Nice. All right, so let's commit that. I think, yeah, good. I think we've got that stuff in there. Let's go ahead and commit. No one said anything about the jams. I presume you're ambivalent or they're inaudible. Or you don't care. You just don't care. And that's fine. No one's asking you to care. All right, what's next? Let's keep moving. So, documented. 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 Drag position manager, not as documented. We're gonna do this one. And if we can get that more or less done today, I'll be pretty happy, because then we get into the big ones: customize mode, customize widgets, and all the missing pieces in customizable UI. For which I don't know how many missing pieces there are. There might not actually be that many, but we will find out. But let's start with drag position manager. What is this thing? I think I remember what this thing is. Okay, so area position manager. What does this do? Oh yes, I remember this. Okay, I remember this stuff. This is a helper for all of the drag and drop for customizable UI. So whenever we are customizing, we do this thing. You may have noticed it, where we'll like move items around. It's kind of similar to how like tabs, when you're moving drags, we'll like do this with tabs and stuff. Like we'll move them around, we'll create space for them. And what's interesting about this is that, yeah, we can create spaces, but also if like I move up here, then there's like a wraparound. Notice that wraparound, like edit controls move to the first line. There's like a grid behavior that needs to occur. There's all this like zipping around. It's pretty crazy actually. And all of that is taken care of by area position manager. And so that's what we're going to be documenting now. Okay. A cache, so G managers, if I remember correctly, is a cache of area position managers mapped to a specific area node. A cache of area position managers associated with weakly mapped to customization area nodes. And I'm pretty sure whenever we've done mappings, there's like a format for this. Map. Yeah, type map, and then sweet jams. Map. So it's like DOM node, area position manager. For some reason we like hard code the palette. I feel like the palette ID is something that should be taken care of inside of either the customize mode module, or customizable UI, but for now it's here. But we just keep the ID here. It's probably duplicated in a couple of other places. Let's just check out of curiosity. Yeah, here's another copy of it. How about over here? Yeah, there's another one. Another instance. All right, well, here's another. And then area position manager. Now it's time to document this thing. Now this is actually an interesting opportunity. We could like convert this thing to an ES6 class, because this lends itself nicely to that, and then we could use like private methods here rather than underscore. And so I'm compelled to do that. This looks like a good opportunity to do that instead of using these old prototype style classes. So let's do this. Class area position manager. Instructor. Sweet jams. Man, so smooth. Okay. So there is the bare minimum conversion. And this is like a global management mechanism. Okay. Let's see if where are the tests for this? Now that we've done this. Is there a test for drag? Drag to panel, drag empty toolbar, drag to overflow, drag end after move, dragging removable, drag outside palette. Let's quickly just run the customizable UI tests now that I've converted this to a class. We can jam out a little bit. While I'm doing that, any questions about anything I'm doing in here or anything in the chat? Feel free to drop some questions. I'll try and answer them. Whoop! I dropped stuff. I hope everyone had a pleasant... If you celebrate Halloween, if that's a thing that you do in your area, I hope you had a pleasant one. We had a bunch of visitors at our door, which was nice, because we don't always get a lot of visitors. We got a lot of visitors. We got cleaned out. This year. So, I don't know. It was warm. It was very warm in Toronto that day, and so I think the stamina of the children who were trick-or-treating was a lot higher. Whereas there have been times in the past where like Halloween is either so cold or it's rainy or something that the trick-or-treaters just like, out of hell with it. They just go home early. How many visitors did I get? We didn't count, but if I had to guess, I would say it's definitely in the hundreds. It's definitely in the hundreds based on how much candy we purchased. If those numbers are accurate. We never did a count having opened the boxes, but assuming that the numbers on the boxes are accurate and we gave one per, I think there were times where we doubled up, but if I give a fuzzy estimate, I'll say in the order of hundreds. And they came in big mobs. Like kids are coming up to the door and there'll be like 12 of them all in a row because they're like going as teams, which can be pretty intense. So this is all looking pretty good. I would have expected, if I'd screwed up the class conversion, I would have expected a bunch of brokenness by now, but... Craig says, compared to you, we got very little, like 30 to 40 max. Well, that's closer to what we used to get, or even less. Well, when I was growing up, I grew up in rural Ontario, and, our house was... If we got 5 visitors, we were ecstatic, and... most of the time it was just like my cousins to say like, hey, here, check out our costumes. And then we'd like give them candy. And so that was great because then my sisters and I, my siblings, we would just get the leftover candy. So that's nice. Although I think my parents got wise. And so they knew, okay, well, we never get more than a couple of trick-or-treaters. So we'll just get like one small box of candy. I will say whenever I was in university, when I was in post-secondary education, and when I was outside of residence, I lived in, I rented a place with some friends, so 3 friends and I, and we were on a street that got trick-or-treaters, and this is our first time being responsible for that. This is our first time, like, having our own place as adults, and I put that in, like, I'm being very charitable, because we were not adults. Or like we should have been more adult than we were. We were old enough to know better. But basically, you've got these 4 people who had never lived on their own, now all of a sudden grappling with trick-or-treaters. And it didn't occur to us to be ready for trick-or-treaters. And so we have kids coming up to our door going trick-or-treat, and we had nothing. And so we're giving them like cans of ravioli and like potatoes. It's like, here's a potato. We're giving them groceries because it's all we had. I think I gave out some old CDs. I'm like, do you like Soundgarden? Here's a Soundgarden CD, because I had a bunch of copies of it. Yeah, I think I gave out. I think, yeah, we gave out a lot of. I don't think we were very well regarded by the trick or treaters. Like, we saw a lot of confused children going like, I got a potato. We got wise. We lived there for a bunch of years, and then the year following, we got fewer visitors, probably by reputation, but we were also prepared. We bought candy. Okay, let's document this thing. The area position manager. Let's really try and understand what this thing does. So when we build it, we learn a lot about it. We figure out the dimensions of it, and then we run an update. The update goes through each of the container's children. Horizontal distance. If there's no last is null. So there's a loop here. All right, well, let's skip over this for now. Keep the basic height. We don't have one by default. Single item height will get coordinates height. Okay, so we'll like sample the height of the items in the container. We'll just get like the first one that has height. We'll record that as the single item height. And then at the very end, at the very last one, coordinates left, last. There's no horizontal distance, and last is set. Then we'll take the coordinates of the current one and the previous one, and okay, compare with horizontal distance, a baseline. So we'll presume that the distance, we'll just sample two nodes next to one another and use that as our like best guess as what the actual distance is between nodes. Okay, interesting. Apparently, according to the TikToks, giving kids potatoes now is hip. Really? I'm not on TikTok. I'm not familiar with this trend, but people were giving out potatoes? That's hilarious. What did the kids think of that? Did the kids think it was fun? What are you doing with these potatoes? Have you ever taken a bite out of a raw potato? It's very unpleasant. I did it on a dare. I would not recommend it. Height to width factor. We then divide the width of the container by a single item's height. What is that used for? Okay, we'll come back around to that. So we'll run a single update. We'll scan the container for all these nodes. We'll get a bunch of these metrics. Okay. Next, we have all these things that are exposed. Like insert placeholder, find. Some of these are documented. That's nice. I think the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that none of these things are used externally. And then I'm going to make them private. Diff with next. Yeah, used only internally. Okay, so we're gonna make this private. Nice. Move next based on previous. Good. And then lazy store get. All used internal. Replace. Okay. And first in row. And then last but not least, get visible sibling for direction. Okay. Replace. Okay. Nice. So what are these things doing? Drag position manager. Who uses this? It's really just customize mode. Okay, I think we can be the area position manager. An area position manager is used to power the drag and drop grid behavior. Drag and drop the animated drag and drop grid behavior of each container customizable area. Toolbars, the palette, the overflow panel, while in customize mode. Each customizable area has its own area position manager per browser window. That's because browser windows can be different sizes. That means that the metrics will be slightly different. Craig says, I'm not on there either, just what people I know that use it have told me. There was some TikToks where kids were given a choice, candy or potato, and potato was picked. I mean, it is objectively funny to choose a potato over candy. I mean, it's nutritionally the wise choice. I mean, a potato is fairly calorie dense, so is candy. I would imagine that, and I don't know this to be 100% true, but I would imagine a potato has more nutrients and more useful calories than, say, a piece of candy. That's my guess. They're both, you know, given the choice, I think the potato is almost certainly the healthier choice. So good on those kids who are choosing potato, but it's also objectively funny to choose the potato. Like, I don't think anyone could argue the opposite, that it's somehow funnier to choose the candy. Okay. Constructs an instance of area position manager for a customizable area. The customizable area container node for which to perform drag and drop animations, for which drag and drop animations are to be calculated for. Sure. Okay, this is another private value. I'm gonna update node position store to be just this private. I'll double check no one's using it. Yeah, okay. So what is the node position store? It's gonna be a weak map. Okay. No, I don't mind this being here. Type. A cache of node positions within the container. Child node position size and position. I think it's size and position data. Cache of container child node size and position data. And the mapping is node position store. When do we actually set it? We set it here when we get, and it's a rect. Left, right, width, height, DOM, top, bottom. And I'm pretty sure that is the same interface as DOM rect. DOM rect. Not quite. X, Y with height. Left, right with height. Left, right with height. Top, bottom. There's no X, Y. Oh, there is an X and a Y. Okay. So it's very similar to a read-only DOM rect, but it's not quite. You know what we could do, actually? Is actually just store a DOM rect instead of creating one of these things. That might actually be the right thing to do here, instead of like inventing something that's so similar, is we take care of rect top width height client rect. Yeah, here's what I'd do. I'd like return a DOM rect read only. Can I, how do I do that? DOM rect read only from, can I just do that? DOM rect read only from rect left 0, right 1, width 20, height 20, top 5, bottom 5, X will be left plus the width divided by 2, so X is 10, and then Y height top plus height divided by 2, top 5 plus height 25, but height is divided by 2, bed mass, brackets, exponents, division, add, subtract. So it's actually, yeah, the division occurs first, so it's height divided by 2, 10 is 15. Right, okay. So that's what we can do. And so then we don't have to freeze it. We can just, we can do this. Rect equals DOM rect read only from rect. X. Left is client rect left. Plus client rect width divided by 2, Y. Client rect top plus client rect height divided by 2. We don't need those things. We don't want that. We want a snapshot what the rect values are right at this moment, nothing else. We have to clone the values. Could we get also just do this? Bounding client rect. Bounding client rect. What do we get back from? We get back a DOM rect. DOM rect. We get XY with height, which extends DOM rect read only. DOM rect init is XY with height. Maybe this is all you need, is XY with height. At any rate, I suspect we can just do DOM rect read only from rect. think we can do that. So we clone, we have to clone the values as a DOM-rect read only. Okay. Coordinates. Right. So DOM node, and then what is going to be on the other side is a DOM-rect read only. Size and position data. Let's actually just see if that works. I'm very curious to know if that'll work. I suspect it will. Perfect. Happy with that. We can probably just initialize this because upon construction, we're going to run update anyways, so that's fine. Iterates the children of the container. Is update ever called again? Yes, it is. Iterates the children of the container. Oh, this is another instance where we can just like DOM-rect read only from rect. Dot container info. And we've got more of these. I forgot there are more of these. RTL. RTL is Boolean. RTL. Container info. Null. Horizontal distance 0. Container info. I'm not sure what this music is, but it's quite a jam. So we have to document these. Type. True if the container is oriented from right to left. Type Boolean. Container info. The DOM-rect read only. A DOM-rect read only for the client bounding client rect for the container. Collected once during construction. Which makes me wonder if it's only done during construction, what happens whenever the container changes size. Do we ever update? You only do it during construction. That's interesting. Oh, when we stop drag position manager, when would we stop? Tear down pallet dragging. When we stop dragging. Oh, that's so interesting. Behavior custom area. Each customer has its own area. Position manager per browser window. An area. Oh, that's so interesting. So the drag position manager creates one of these things, and they only exist while you are dragging. That's so interesting. Collected once during construction. Okay. And so that'll be a DOM rect read only. Or null. And this one will be the distance, the calculated distance. Start with this 0. Actually, we can just do that. Not horizontal distance. Calculate distance between the first 2 visible child nodes of the container. Calculate horizontal distance. Yeah. Okay. Like Whiplash, was I rushing or was I dragging? Nice. Not quite my tempo. Okay, iterates the children of the container, sampling their bounding client rects and storing them in a local cache. Iterates the visible children of the container. Also collects metrics like collects and stores metrics like the distance between the horizontal distance between the first 2 children, the height of the first item, and what is the height to width factor used for? And a ratio between the, okay. Ratio between the width of the container and the height of the first child item. That's so strange. DOM node, container node to collect the measurements for. Does not return anything. So we're gonna update this. Width factor. So what is this? This is the ratio of the width of the container and the height of the first visible child node. This is used, what for? What do we use this for? Find the closest node in the container given the coordinates. Closest is defined in a somewhat strange manner. We prefer nodes which are in the same row over nodes that are in a different row. In order to implement this, we use a weighted Cartesian distance where dy is more heavily weighted by a factor corresponding to the ratio between the container's width and height of its elements. Interesting. This is used, so for the weighted Cartesian distance, it's used in the weighted Cartesian distance calculation used in the area position manager find method. Can I do C here? C area position manager find. Can I do that? Will it be happy with that? Nope. Don't run the tests. Run the doc. Oh, we are over time. I think I'm gonna stop there. Let me just see if this builds. It built. Let's get it showing up real quick in our docs. We're gonna call it drag position manager, RST. There's two parts to it. The first one is area position manager. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. There we go. See. Okay, so it doesn't know what I mean by that. I'm gonna, if I just do this, is that better? Will it build? Or will that error out? It likes it. Okay. There we go. All right, well, I'm gonna stop it there. We're almost done documenting drag position manager. There's already some built-in documentation, which is nice. This is pretty sophisticated geometry stuff going on in here for the grid, but I think a bunch of it's already documented and we'll be able to take advantage of that. And I think we can easily finish that off next week. And then we can start going into the next one, which will be probably customizable widgets. And then we'll go into one of the big ones like customize mode. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Let me just quickly commit. Get status. We're gonna git add that. We're gonna add that. And then I'm gonna create a new commit. Maybe Heist can review this one. Add JS documentation for drag position manager. I'm also going to update the commit message now that I've realized what I just did. I'm going to commit amend. We also take the opportunity to convert area position manager to an ES6 class and use proper private members, as well as using DOM rect read only. Yeah, DOM rect read only instead of the bespoke rect like objects that we were using before, like frozen objects. Okay, done. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching episode 382 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. There's a form here in the agenda to rate this episode. I'm actually going to drop a link, rate this episode link. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of the lo-fi jams. Is this distracting? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I keep coming back to it every now and then. You know what? Well, I'll decide to play some jams. It's a little tricky because I got to find like royalty-free stuff that's not going to get me like copyright claimed on YouTube. Because, like, even stuff that is technically royalty free, if a song is like created that uses the royalty free track, and sometimes automated copyright claims will go out based on the fingerprint of the royalty free sample that's inside the non-royalty free track, which can be annoying. But hopefully this episode will go up all right, and it won't get blocked out. If you're not able to watch this recording, and I don't know how you'd be able to see this, maybe you're watching this on Air Mozilla or something. If this didn't get posted to YouTube, it's because I got a copyright claim violation or something. Hopefully it doesn't occur. Fingers crossed. And with that, we're gonna close this out. Thank you again for having me join you on this day, November 6th, 2024, and I will hopefully see you next week. Take care, everybody. Be good to each other. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.